I'm Vivien Diniz with the Investing News Network. Speaking with me today is Jim Letourneau, editor of the Big Picture Speculator. Jim, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Jim, I wanted to talk today a little bit about what's going on in 2014. But before we get there, I wanted to touch a little bit on 2013. You're a little bit optimistic about what was going on in the market at the beginning of the year, but something went wrong. Can you shed some light on what that was?
There's different segments of the market, and since we're at a resource conference, resources aren't doing that well, but the rest of the stock market is doing extremely well. The Dow is doing well, the TSX is doing well, so we're actually dealing with a really healthy economy. Low commodity prices are helping that. So being optimistic about commodities maybe wasn't the right place to be, and I actually had a conversation with a friend yesterday about, has anyone been right over the last 3 years about commodity price directions? And it's like, no, I haven't heard anyone really predict anything correctly. So it's difficult to be in that game.
Especially if you're looking that far into the future. I'm
not used to people actually calling me and saying, last year you said this and it was wrong. If everyone did that, no one would come to these conferences.
No, definitely not. But 2014 so far, we look like we're off to a good start. How do you feel about the resource market in the next few months?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think some of the uptick might be due to the Canadian dollar being devalued against the US dollar, and so suddenly we're a little more profitable in Canada if companies are actually producing, which is good. I'm not sure if that'll trickle all the way down to the juniors, and I'm really looking for confirmation. We're in a downtrend, and until that downtrend changes to an uptrend, and you can do it with trend lines and a bit of technical analysis, bear market's going to last a lot longer than 3 years.
Yeah, and I've been hearing we're just going to bounce along this little bottom for a while. So I mean, it's definitely
until
a wait
the last
and see.
optimist, gives up is typically what has to happen.
Exactly. So you're here this year to talk about the cures for the resource investing blues. What's this light at the end of the tunnel? Can you shed some light on where people might find the cure?
I would think looking outside of the sector, like stepping back and looking at it in terms of a portfolio allocation. How much money do you want to put into the resource sector? It's not a bull market right now. What's your time frame? If you're a value investor, you can find some really good projects cheap that will be the first ones to come out of the doldrums. But in general, you think a lot of the investors' years have lost a lot of money, and at some point you can't afford to keep doing that. Look to diversify. Look, biotechnology is a good sector. Technology is a good sector. Just remember that you don't have to have all your money in mining. I'm from Calgary, and a lot of people in Calgary are involved in the oil and gas business. And they'll say they're diversified because I've got some seniors, I got some mid-caps, I got a couple of juniors, I've got a couple of service companies, and my house is in Calgary, and they think they're diversified. They're not, right? It's to step back. So that's the big cure.
So it's just not putting all of your eggs in the exact same basket.
Exactly.
Even if it's a little bit of a different sector.
Yeah, it's stepping away. As a geologist, I've seen cycles before, and sometimes you can do no wrong, and then other times it doesn't matter how good you are. If the sector's negative, you're not gonna be able to create the value. There's easier places to make money.
Okay, well, at least we're still seeing a lot of people milling around here at the conference, so that cautious optimism is there.
Yeah.
So a lot of investors know you primarily as an energy sector guy. What are your thoughts going on in the energy sector currently?
I think in Canada, the big thing is we found a lot of oil, we found a lot of natural gas, well over 100 years supply of natural gas just in Northeast BC. Who are we going to sell it to? We have no one to sell it to right now. The United States, Obama is being friendly, but he's really saying, screw you, Canada. We don't care about your pipeline. That's what he's saying. He's saying it in a funny way. He's saying it, we need to approve it. We need to go through the steps. We want to make sure it's done right. If it was of great strategic importance and there was an energy shortage, they would be all over it. It would be done. So instead, he's sort of saying no in a nice way.
Not right now, maybe.
Exactly.
But he doesn't want us to lose hope.
Well, at some point it's going to be, okay, this isn't happening, and natural gas is a similar situation. We need to get that gas to export markets, because there's all over the world people are finding more and more of it, and if we don't get our systems in place to export it, then those resources become stranded.
So we basically would be missing an opportunity here.
Exactly, and energy exports are the biggest export of Canada's economy.
We've been looking at China for exports.
Exactly.
Is that something that's feasible? It's going to pan out?
It's totally doable, but I don't know. China obviously is, well, maybe they can get natural gas from Siberia, or maybe they can get it from somewhere closer than North America. Australia is a big market for them. Ultimately, it's a global game, and if we don't act in a timely manner and things, if we don't build LNG plants and pipelines to get things to export markets, someone else will.
So let's hope we keep up on that. So my other question was here, are there any other markets that you find some opportunities in the resource sector here?
I hate to be negative, but it's pretty negative right now. You may find little pockets. There's some news in, I believe, Indonesia about nickel, where they were going to cut exports, and that's a little potential excitement for that market. I don't think that's going to hold up. Usually, if there's money on the table, governments will go, well, I could take this money and extract some concessions, and it goes back to business as usual. We've seen that before with almost every commodity out there. China's going to stop exporting it. That's going to create this massive shortage. They never seem to happen. We never seem to reach that crisis point.
Okay. Now, my last question, where do you see the biggest opportunity in the markets today? And I'm talking globally.
Globally?
Not globally.
I see a lot of anything to do with healthcare, biotechnology.
Okay.
We've got an aging population. We've got all kinds of new things in the pipeline that are coming. It takes a long time to get them approved, but it was an underfollowed sector for a long time. So right now, if people like the hot momentum type markets, biotechnology's been in an uptrend for a few years. I think that'll continue, and some of that'll filter down to some really good Canadian biotechs that have been around for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Plus, those companies are going to get more and more attention.
Okay, well, it looks good. Something to keep an eye on.
Thank you.
I'm Vivien Diniz with Investing Insights. That was Jim Letourneau, editor of the Big Picture Speculator. Thanks for joining.